Welcome in. It's the Second Cut Podcast. This is your mega preview pod for this week's Wyndham Championship, the final event of the PGA Tour regular season. We've got storylines, we've got best bets, we've got questions, we've got everything. Mark Immelman is here. Mark, good to see you.
What's up, boys and fans? Yeah, final week for CBS as well. So apart from one or two ESPN plus PGA Tour live gigs, I'm about to be done and on somewhat of a vacation for the year. God bless America.
God bless America. Greg DuCharme is here. And Greg, before we went hot, when I added you to the stage, you were not prepared to talk because you had a mouthful of Twix, my friend.
Yeah, baby.
Today was the cookies and cream. Now, this is a rather large wrapper, as you can see. It's empty. There are 4 pieces in here. I did not eat all 4 before the show. Sure. There's only 1 left. I also brought up the original.
Okay.
This is their they call this share size. Now,
you're supposed to share it with somebody.
Well, I think you have that option, right? You can. There's enough where you could share it. They also sent cookie dough, which I brought here. It's fantastic. This is a snickerdoodle right here. This is not shareable. There's 2 in here. You can't share that.
That was in my rankings one that I was not expecting to like as much as I did. I'm not a snickerdoodle guy, but that was very, very good.
Yeah, it is very good. Now my favorite is not here. You can understand why. It is salted caramel, however you want to say it. I think it gives you the feel of the original, right? Because it has the caramel. So if you want to, when you take a bite, there's that little pull, which is, I think, part of what Twix is all about. The cookies and cream, which I just had, would be my number 2.
It's like a candy review by Greg DuCharme. All I want to know, Greg,
I just took it upon myself.
Yeah, have you reviewed now your rankings of what the best chocolate / candy / cookie in the United States is after getting to experiment? Because I'm trusting you did.
Well, everything's up in the air now. I told Rick this on Sunday. I was pretty heavy original for Twix and all, even going over across into the candy sector. I was pretty heavy on original in all things. But my palate has been expanded thanks to our new friends at Twix.
Not just his palate, Mark. His worldview has changed.
No kidding. Yeah. Yeah, it's more than just peanut butter now, thankfully. Because to me, most American chocolate is peanut butter and something else. No, Twix, the folks at Twix are onto something, and I'm all up for it.
Yeah, it has been very enjoyable eating as many Twix as I can over the past couple of days. I have other news before we jump into the storylines for this week, and that is a very special day that is coming up in 2 days, and this involves all of us here. So on July 31st, which today is Tuesday, so that'll be Thursday, Aiden, one of our loyal listeners, turns 11. Now, how about this? This is Aiden and I at the PGA Championship. I've met Aiden out there. And he turns 11. He listens to the Second Cut pod. And I'll tell you what, Mark, he's going to be at the Wyndham Championship with his dad, and he's going to be looking for you.
All
Aiden,
right.
Aiden, I got you, brother. Just come find me Saturday or Sunday. I will be looking out for you. Give me a shot. And I look forward to meeting you and wishing you a belated happy birthday from the crew.
Yes, we'll wish you an early happy birthday now. Hopefully, Mark will get you a belated happy birthday. But this is very cool, Greg. We're infiltrating a new generation.
It's very cool, and I love seeing a now 11-year-old into the game of golf. It's really exciting, and getting involved in the PGA Tour, following the PGA Tour, following what we do. It's a really cool thing. So, Aiden, thank you for the support. Keep it going. I hope your love for golf brings you what it's brought for all of us, which is really something special.
Yeah, I'll tell you a funny story. So Patrick McDonald and I were working this event together, and he's always like, "Oh, Rick, everybody wants to call out your name. You're walking around, yada yada yada. No one ever calls out my name." this photo happened. This was the first second we were on the grounds, or at least I walked out on the grounds. And they're like, "Hey, Rick, can we get a photo?" You see what I'm saying? This was 5 seconds after we've been on the ground. I was like, "Hey, doesn't always happen like that," but that was fun. So,
you don't want a picture with Patrick, Aiden?
Yeah, like,
trust me, that's fine.
We're good. Happy birthday, Aiden. Well done.
Yeah, Patrick's an imposter, man. No, he's got nothing to do with us anymore.
He's got a real job. That's what he's got. All right, gentlemen. Storylines for this week. Mentioned the Wyndham Championship, how we are in the final leg before we start these FedEx Cup playoffs. So let's just start there. The top 70, Greg, is the number. That is going to be the key number for this week to make sure that your season continues. That is, you were looking at this a little bit earlier this week about with the new points distribution, how many guys could conceivably flip in and flip out of that. Do you have a feeling for how many guys getting in and how many guys getting pushed out we might see?
Well, it's pretty interesting. So if you look at this right now, it's actually, now there's decimals, but basically Ben On and Matty Schmid are technically 69 and 70. And they're at 595 points. And there are decimals. So Ben On is ahead of Matty Schmid. But let's just, for simple math, 595 points.
Okay.
If you go down to the guy that's in 80th, William Mao, let's go to 81st, Ryo Hisatsune. He's at 504 points. Okay, so that's basically 90 points behind Matty Schmid. He's in 81st. You would think, I mean, that looks like you're pretty darn close, but you're 90 points back. To reach 90 points, you need a top seventh solo seventh is 90 points in this event. So if you start doing a little math on this, that means there's only 6 spots ahead of 90 guys that are going to get, more points than that. So there's not a whole lot of opportunity for a lot of these guys to move in, because Matty Schmid at 595 points isn't going to end up with less than 595 points. So top 70 will be at least that number. And there aren't that many guys that can get there because of the way the point distribution works. Now, if you look at winners, you can make up with 500 points. You basically got to have 200 points right now, and you can get in. That's a long ways down the list. 200 points is Tristan Lawrence has 206 points. He's at 146th. So a lot of guys can get in with a win. But when you start getting to like Adam Scott, who's right now 85th, only 15 spots out, but he's got 446 points. He basically needs a solo third or better to have a chance of getting in. And he's only 15 spots out. So I don't expect to see a ton of turnover, because there are so few places you can finish that earn enough points to jump that mark that Matty Schmid has set.
So this is relatively new, Mark, and Greg did a great job. We were talking about this a little bit on Sunday, because there are fewer spots available, 70 going into the playoffs. It is seemingly more competitive. Like the guys who are in the top 70 have earned enough points where they have kind of boxed out a lot of their peers who normally in other years they could have bigger swings. So yes, a win opens up 80 more guys who could potentially get in, but barring a win, it does not seem like we're going to see a lot of turnover.
Well, in years past, because we've done this event for like forever, as long as I can remember, and before I was with CBS, I did it for PGA Tour Radio. And I always seem to remember that every year, sort of the average of folks getting in and folks falling out was 4 at best, maybe around that sort of 3 number or so. So, yeah, there's never really a lot of turnover. But I'll tell you what, it's on the players' minds. Because, like, if I'm a bubble guy and I shoot 73 on day 1, then all of a sudden Friday becomes very important. And the most important day was because, remember, before we got to 70, with a new playoff number and where it was 125, and then you were playing for guys keeping their cards at that stage too. I mean, that was a big deal. And I remember seeing Justin Thomas not advance to the playoffs in 1 year, but it was exempt because of a major championship win. I saw a few guys sort of be really close, and then there were one or two instances where someone who was well outside of the mark would have a big finish, like a runner-up or something like that, and play their way in. But typically, you will see something sort of around 4 players or so move in and 4 players move out. And so those guys that's sitting on like 69, 70, it's not plain sailing for them. That is one thing's for certain.
Don't miss the cut. At least earn yourself some points and try to box some guys out. The interesting thing about this, Greg, is I'm just scrolling through some names. We've had a couple of guys who should be in the playoffs, play better recently, and position themselves as such. But I'm looking at some of these names. Eric Cole is 79th. I'm looking at Adam Scott, 85th. Tom Kim is 89th. Max Homa, of course, has not had a good year. He's 106th. Those guys, Homa might need a win. These other, but they're going to need probably wins or runner-up finishes, or they are not going to be in the playoffs.
No, for Max Homa, who is, like you said, 106th, he has 351 points. So he needs a second place finish would get the job done for him. Solo second. Now, when you start getting ties, those numbers drop pretty quickly.
Very top heavy.
Because you're talking about if there's a 2-way tie, let's just do this math right here. Because if you have a 2-way tie in second, so that's 300 points plus 190 points, which is 490. That drops down to 245 points. So one person ties you in second place, you lose 55 points. That is that's a big number. So it gets really tight really quickly up there at the top. And if you start going into a 2 or 3-way tie, now you're adding 135 and 110 into the mix. And those numbers drop even more quickly. So a Max Homa, a solo second would work, but you're basically you're playing for the win. Right. So it gets really tense. Adam Scott, who's it's interesting. Adam Scott at 85th is well ahead of Max Homa, but because of where he stands, he basically needs like a solo third would get the job done for him.
He's way ahead of him in the standings, but needs basically the same result.
Exactly. Exactly. So there's really only a couple guys like Gary Woodland, a top 25 finish. Let's say a top 20 would safely put him in. But like 20, if he finishes 25th, he's getting real close to that 595 number. And now you need help, right? You need Matty Schmid, Ben on, a couple of those guys. You get 2 of those guys to miss the cut, maybe 2 others jump in from outside, and there could be room for you.
I want to add to that, Rick. We're talking about the players here, but just a reminder to everyone, these aren't robots. And to these players that are like now vying for, 70 and to kind of basically book their year for next year. Because if you don't remember, then you are essentially obliged to play the FedEx Cup fall to get inside the 100. Because if you get inside the 100, you retain your card. But the reality is when you get 70 and certainly 50 and better, because the top 50 get in all the signature events and all that sort of stuff. These guys, it's not just them. It's like families and friends and all that sort of people around them that live sort of vicariously through them. Some folks are reliant on them for success. I mean, Sunday morning, last week, I was having a conversation on the phone with my brother, who's been helping Adam Scott with his golf swing for the last year or so. And Trevor was like, man, and this is Sunday morning, right? And this is Trevor, who's been around the block. He's like, Adam could really use 64 or something like that today, just to climb up the rankings at the 3M a little bit and make the job at Wyndham a little easier. And it impressed upon me again how, look, these are great golfers and they're heroes and stuff like that, but they're just people like us who have goals and aspirations and life to live. Everyone thinks it's all glamorous and stuff like that on the tour. It's a grind at times. And weeks like this, they are proof of that very fact.
Yeah, there's like 10 guys that are the private jet flying, like absolutely nothing to worry about. The other 200 and some odd have at least something.
I'm gonna make it 11. It's the top 10 and Ted Scott. There you go.
Yeah, seriously, it does feel that way. Actually, this is a pretty good segue. So Alex sent this question in via the Patreon, Greg, and it's kind of in regards to how these guys play weeks like this, right? Is there does it behoove them to be more aggressive? Does it behoove them to change their strategy? I mean, on one hand, the shot that you are taking in round one of the Wyndham is worth the same amount of a shot you are taking in round one of the Sony. However, there's a lot more information and a lot more things that we know and what they need. So how do you think guys change their strategy, and if that is correct or not?
Well, there is probably a pull to go crazy, right? You want to see but at the same time, these guys understand how golf tournaments work. They know that it's 4 rounds, and they want to make sure that they play as well as they can over the first 2 days. Like from everybody that I've heard interviews from, or interviewed myself, or watched interviews or press conferences over the years, they seem to approach it the same way. We're going to play the first 2 rounds and shoot the lowest score we can, which doesn't necessarily mean be as aggressive as you can, right? You play the course the way it needs to be played. You're trying to play the correct shot at the correct time, and you see where you stand heading into the weekend. And then based on where you are, assuming you make the cut, you start to make adjustments that may be necessary. And like we saw last week, and like Mark has wisely pointed out on the show, anything can happen. So those first 2 days, just go make the cut, and then get Kitayama hot over the weekend, or Joe Highsmith hot over the weekend, and you can go make your hay. I think it'd be a mistake to try to win any golf tournament, no matter what the stakes are, on Thursday in a 4-round event. So look, they're gonna go through the way that they are best capable of shooting low scores, and play that way.
Mark, the golf course that they are going to try to battle it out on is Sedgefield. It has been, I don't know how many straight years it's been, but this is the place we always end it, in Greensboro. And I feel like, and correct me if I'm wrong, I feel like it's always wet around there this time of year. And I want to get your thoughts on this golf course and the venue that this will be as host this weekend.
I'm going to take grief for this, but it is one of my top 5 on the PGA Tour, Sedgefield. Okay. It's a Donald Ross. It's a wonderful old design. You can play it if you're a PGA Tour pro and if you're a rank beginner, because there are not many forced carries. I think the only one that I can think of was maybe the par 5 15, where you got to hit the ball over like fescue for 150 yards, maybe a little more, to get to the fairway. But its major defense is undulation and the greens. And the greens are always immaculate. And they got a little grain in them, so they're toughish to read. But if you're putting well and you're reading greens, you can make everything you stand over. We've seen that being done. Brandt Snedeker shoot 59, for argument's sakes. But it's just a wonderful club venue in a cool town in Greensboro with great restaurants. It truly is one of my favorites, and it's kind of bittersweet that it's the final one on our calendar. But it really is very timely, because it's weird every time I go there, because Wyndham's a sponsor, and Wyndham blow out this whole thing like it's a vacation. Like when you get to the putting green, they got this massive sand castle, and then they got like a Jimmy Buffett sort of a concert place where people are sipping margaritas, the fans and stuff, and they've got live music playing. And then you got these guys that aren't on vacation because they got work to do. So it's a wonderful spot. The old Tudor clubhouse coming up the 9th fairway is one of my favorite views during the year, and it's a cool golf course. Par 70, if I can recall, 1 par 5 on the front, 1 on the back. Really good par 3s around there, and 16, 17, 18, well, 15 through 18. I'll even add to that 14, because 14 is a brutal par 4, dogleg left. 15 is a reachable 5 for everybody in the field. 16 is a toughish par 3 with a 2-tiered green, typical Ross. 17, if you get a drive in the fairway, you can get a wedge and make a birdie. Then 18, it's 490 yards. You travel downhill, then you play uphill to a very undulating green. You hit this long to medium iron off a downsloping lie to a green above you, well bunkered. It's a great, great golf course. And I know they shoot low there, but it's because of the fact that in the south we get thunderstorms. And because there's so much undulation, water tends to gather in areas. But that being said, you walk past the clubhouse and they got like their wall of fame. And you look at names on there like Sam Snead and Seve Ballesteros. And it's like the who's who of golf that have won what was the Greater Greensboro Open to what the current crop of players are. And it's a sweet spot. I love it.
Yeah, Aaron Rai trying to vie for history. If he wins this week, he'd be the first back-to-back champion since Sam Snead in the 1950s. Greg, this is a course, so I just looked it up, every year since 2008. So we've got a good barometer. We've got a good idea of the types of players that have played well here, also because of its spot on the calendar and its impact on the playoffs. It does create a situation where there's guys here with a ton of experience. You'll have guys that have played here 10, 15 years in a row, whatever it is. So we have a lot of that information. We have a lot of that data. We should have a general idea of the types of players that could find success this week.
Yeah, I mean, Adam Scott, for instance, played here in 2004.
Yeah.
And he's playing again this week. So just to give you an idea, there's Lucas Glover has played here too many times for me to count.
Lucas Glover probably has like 4 different venues he's played 20 or more times.
Yeah, it's crazy. This is one of them.
Does that show that you're good or you're just old, or is it both?
Both.
Yeah.
Because you got to be good for a long time to be good and old.
Yep. There's a reason you're old. Okay. And still playing on the PGA Tour.
Yeah.
Really impressive. I think there's a couple of really interesting things about what types of players do well here. It is. I always look at like the last 5 years and what do the win. I look at winning trends. What do these guys do? What do they have in common? And I have not seen all year a trend this strong for driving accuracy. I mean, you look at what the last 5 winners have done the week of their win. And 4 out of 5 are in the top 8 for the week in driving accuracy. You look at them entering the year, and all 5 are inside the top 20 in driving accuracy. And you think about it, Aaron Rai, he was 3rd in driving accuracy. Lucas Glover, 11th in driving accuracy. Tom Kim was hitting 72% of his fairways the year entering when he won. Kevin Kisner was 20th in driving accuracy. Jim Herman was 12th. This is a specialty. These players do well here, and there are other places on tour where it's harder for them to compete. Now, Lucas Glover and Tom Kim, and you could argue Aaron Rai are maybe exceptions. They've done well everywhere, but Jim Herman hasn't. He's done well in Bermuda, which is short and requires driving accuracy, and here. So there's a huge advantage to getting the ball in the fairway this week. In fact, if you look at proximity to the hole, it is one of the easier courses on tour in proximity to the hole, unless you're in the rough. It's basically, looking at 5 years, you're basically top 15 easiest each of the last 5 years in proximity to the hole, and top 15 hardest in proximity to the hole from the rough, which is only 2 inches, 2-inch Bermuda, and it gives players fits. And I think the real reason for that is what Mark said about the undulation being the defense. You got to have control over your golf ball to leave yourself easy putts or easy up and downs.
I want to add that to that real fast. Everything from my experience is right on the button there with what Greg had to say. I will add to this though, Greg. When conditions are receptive on these greens, because the thing about the greens is, old school drainage was like perched up greens, and greens are tilted from back to front. And that's essentially everything here on this golf course. But when it gets receptive, these guys that are coming out of that Bermuda rough, which if it's dry, really exacerbates the flyer. But if it's wet, the ball doesn't jump as much. And then, of course, you got greens that'll hold the ball a little bit more. But when we've had dry years and you hit the ball in that rough, it doesn't even have to be 2 inches. It can be like an inch, where it's just enough and a little wispy where there's grass between ball and club face, and you hit one of those mammoth jets out there and it hits the green, and the next thing it's rolling down the road to Raleigh, North Carolina. I mean, that's when the golf course plays to its real personality. But if we get like any sort of storms and it gets soft, it kind of becomes a bit of target practice even from the rough.
the other thing that's pretty interesting about this with the implications, how many guys have something to play for, might be 100, might be 70, might be 50, might be 30, might be Ryder Cup, right? Something to play for, is that this field is wide open. And that's not necessarily my opinion here, Greg. We'll start with you first on this. The favorite to win this golf tournament right now is Matt Fitzpatrick. He is 20-1. I went and looked this up. In the last 7 years, there have only been 8 times where there's been a tournament where there's not been anybody shorter than 20-1, where that's been the favorite. Okay. So this is not Scotty Scheffler rolling in at 3.5-1. It's not guys piling up at 12 or 13. 20-1 is the favorite to win this golf tournament. This is pretty rare to have Vegas assigning these odds of like everybody's life.
Yeah. And look, there's something I found to be pretty interesting in that, like, consider the last 5 winners were top 20 in driving accuracy. If you look at the top 5 players in the game, or the top 5 players in this field, driving accuracy is not a strength for them. So I don't know how much Vegas is looking into the data like this, but there's like when I was looking through the field and picking the players I like, the top of the board, it's kind of like, I don't know. I don't really love any of these guys. You start getting down into the more of the long shots and some of the value plays, and it's like, oh, this is perfect for him. And it makes a ton of sense. So I think that the books are in a place where, well, we don't know who's going to win. I know that these are the best players, but they're not the best players for this course. Yes. Which is a very interesting kind of data dichotomy, if you will.
I don't know what that word means, but it sounded great. Yeah, it sounded like you used it perfectly. The other thing about this, Mark, is Greg's right in the sense that the guys that have the pedigrees, Jordan Spieth, Hideki Matsuyama, for example, are not necessarily the sharpest right now. And guys that are the sharpest right now haven't been maybe as sharp as long. Matt Fitzpatrick's had 4 really good weeks. Keegan obviously won a couple of weeks ago. It's an interesting dichotomy. I don't know. I'm just kidding. I don't know that, of how the field at the top is laying itself out.
Yeah, it is. Just as a brief aside, you've jogged my old memory here, and my first ever win call I had for PGA Tour radio, so I'm really dating myself here, was a playoff between Patrick Reed and Jordan Spieth at this very venue. Okay.
And so that was 2013.
Yeah. And he was fresh faced. He was brand new on tour. I remember Reed outstruck him the whole day. And then on the final hole, Jordan makes this big curling sweeper to get into the playoff essentially. And Patrick had a shortish 15 feet to win and he missed. Anyway, Reed wins in a playoff. And, then from then on, this tournament sort of always been defined for me in that sort of a way where you had Jordan, who was a bit of a scrapper, hitting it all over show, chipping, putting. And you had Reed, who was very accurate with wedges. And then to this year, like you talk about who the form horses are, I always had a rule in one and done. Rick, you can remember what my statement was here for the Wyndham. It's Webb at the Wyndham, right?
Webb at the Wyndham, right.
Yeah, right. Because the guys who can play Donald Ross courses well, who can read those greens, people from the area, a lot of North Carolinians and stuff, they tend to want to go well around you. If you look at the leaderboard, Lucas Glover's from South Carolina. He's good on Bermuda grass. Kevin Kisner is from South Carolina. JT Poston's from Hickory, North Carolina, grew up on a Donald Ross course. So you have guys like that tend to want to thrive around this place. So like when I looked through the board and I was like, no, I'm not so sure he's even the favorite. He might be form-wise. I'm sure Vegas know better than me, but just from what I have experienced through the years, it spits out a place where if you strike your irons well, if you strike your irons well, you're good, but you just got to be able to putt in these good greens.
Yeah, you do. And I love the Donald. I was making a note to go look up the best players on Donald Ross courses. So I love that. I love that angle as well. We can name some more names here. So Mina, do we have the grid available? This is our betting grid where we pick one matchup, one finishing position, and 2 separate outrights for the week. Gives us an opportunity to talk about some more names, keep track of everything as the week goes on, give an update on Friday night's podcast, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Greg, let's start with you on your matchup, please.
Yes, I have this week Emiliano Grillo over Matt Wallace. And Wallace is actually the favorite. Grillo is minus 110, however. And I think that what Emiliano Grillo has done really well recently is get back into form with his ball striking. He's been hitting the ball really nicely. He finished T20 last week at the 3M Open. And although he missed the cut at the Barracuda, he did finish second at the John Deere as well. So his iron play has been pretty good. It's been holding up pretty well for the last month or so. His driving game has been pretty good. And he's in this field ranks pretty highly in driving accuracy as well, especially over the last 36 rounds. And it's much better than Matt Wallace. So that's really picking on the weakness of Wallace, which is maybe a little loose with the wedge play sometimes and a little inaccurate off the tee. I think Grillo's got both of those things, which are required around here.
Hey, is this the same Matt Wallace who finished third last week?
Yes.
Checking. Okay, cool.
Yes.
It's him. I have Emiliano Grillo coming up on my grid in just 1 second, so we'll get to that. Jake Knapp for me over Hideki Matsuyama feels a little dirty just in terms of name value, but Jake Knapp's plus 110. Hideki's a pretty significant favorite here, and I obviously like the way that Knapp has been playing. If I get anything like Hideki's A game, not only Jake Knapp is in trouble, but the rest of this field is in trouble. We haven't seen that pop up as much here in 2025. Mark, look at you. A little bit maybe of a redemption story from this guy.
Yeah, first off, I'm really high on Jake Knapp. I just put a video up on my Instagram because I just love to watch it, let it seep into my soul. But my matchup here, Greg, I want to try and win that bottle of wine back, or at least even the score. So I'm going to take Wallace over Grillo and see if you want that bet so I can even us up.
All right, done.
All right, cool. All right.
That
Book it.
Is an official wine wager. Has been booked on both ends. The rules are as follows: a bottle of wine for the winner. Mark is going with Matt
I'm one
Wallace.
down right now, so it would square us up, just saying.
Greg is going with Emiliano Grillo. If they both miss the cut, it is a push. Nobody wins. And Greg is currently up 1 bottle. So this would square Mark and Greg if Mark were to come out victorious. Those are the rules.
Indeed. Hey, Greg.
It's on.
Also, did you see Sam Burns finish last week?
Mark.
Okay.
I sadly did.
Okay, I'll stop. Mine is sort of shaping up to be a little bit of a pillow fight, to be honest with you, because neither of these guys have been playing really well results-wise. But in terms of redemption, again, if you look across my board here, well, Max Homa aside, maybe, you see guys that are sort of very familiar with the area and with the style of golf course. And so I'm going with Max Grazerman, who should have won last year for all intents and purposes, over Sung Jae Im. Sung Jae has played well here in the past. In fact, when Tom Kim won in 2022, and I was on the call for that, which was incredible ball striking, Sung Jae had the lead, was in the final group. So Sung Jae is comfortable around this place. He lives in Atlanta, but I still feel like both guys that have missed a bunch of cuts coming in here. I'm going with Grazerman over Sung Jae plus 100.
Yeah, that was. If you like a horror movie, go back and watch Sunday's final round again, and keep an eye on Max Grazerman.
Well, look, every shot makes someone happy and someone sad. There was Aaron Wright was really happy after all that.
That's
stuff.
true. It was a much better film for Aaron Rye that week than it was for Max Grazerman. Mark went with Grazerman over Sung Jae Im at even money. Ooh, you two are very much the line here. So let me get out of the way. I alluded to this a little bit earlier. Emiliano Grillo, top 30 for me in the finishing position market. That's plus 160. He's putting much better. The tee to green numbers have always been there. He's heating up a little bit. This is certainly somebody who's headed in the right direction. Now, both Greg and Mark have settled on the same golfer, though they have different levels of confidence in said golfer. Greg, you're the most confident, so let's start with yours.
I have Max Homa for a top 20 at plus 280.
Wow.
Look, Max Homa needs a solo second. He's probably thinking, I need to win. So I think Max Homa will come in very motivated. I know he said he's looking for a week off because his wife is pregnant, but this is the job, and I think he's going to show up here really motivated with his eye on the prize. And so that's one. Strokes gain motivation is really high in my opinion for Max Homa, and two, we talked about it last week on Friday. He's looking a whole lot better with that golf swing. And the numbers look really good too, despite a couple anomalies, which we also highlighted last Friday. So I just think things are really trending in the right direction. And I like this idea that somebody comes in playing well and is eyeing the trophy. And I think that gives you a really good, really high likelihood that a top 20 finish is in play.
Mark, you have also found Max Homa. The number that you took was plus 110 on a top 40, but still you align with, I'm sure, many of the sentiments that Greg has.
Yeah. Well, look, Greg and I were talking about Max and his show the other evening, and I like where Max is going in terms of the one-dimensional ball flight that's coming back, but still he looks like he's the master of 3 rounds and the not master of 1. So he's yet to put it all together. In fact, he missed the cut at the Rocket Classic there in Detroit, then played well at the John Deere for a top 5. Then 3M last week he shot 12 under. Okay, so it was not any slouch, but he finishes at 39th. So to me, it's there, but not just yet. So whereas I like where it is, I'm the top 20. I understand the strokes gain motivation. Yeah, I really do. But I'm going for Max at a top 40 plus 110. So still positive money.
The other thing is you gave us a bonus wager here, not one top 40, but a second top 40 on someone you mentioned a few moments ago. Who is it?
Webb at Wyndham, you can book it. In fact, the guy named his first child after the Wyndham Championship, and he's won here a few times, and he loves the golf course. And you don't have to be powerful around here. In fact, if you look at Colonial earlier this year, which is a golf course of a similar ilk, just a lot flatter, Webb played well out there too. So, hey guys, check out Webb Simpson top 40. You get a better number than Max Homa.
The Webb at Wyndham stat sheet. The result, it's just,
it's real.
And I'll tell you this too. You're going to see on there a T7.
Yes, I know exactly what you're going to say about this.
This T7, he missed a playoff by 1 shot. There was a 6-man playoff.
That's right.
What year was that?
You remember who won it?
Kisner.
So that was 2021?
2021. Yeah. So watch that. Yes, he finished 1 shot out of a playoff, finished T7. Hold on. I'm going to get to the other names of.
Okay. But while you get there.
Yeah.
I used to bet Wyndham, like I bet Rory in the Tour Championship for 1 and done. You can book it if you're ever in a league with me. I would bet I'd write down Webb's name in this event every single time. The 1 year he wasn't playing very well, and I caught up with him on the putting green. I'm like, "How's the game?" He goes, "Man, I'm fine. I've just missed a few putts." And I was like, "You miss putts around here? Come on, man, please. Last time you missed a putt around your Moby Dick was a minnow." And we sort of laughed. And he goes out and shoots 63 in the final round, right? And I'm calling him. He walks off the green. He points at me. He goes, "Did that help the 1 and done?" I'm like, "Yeah, you better know it did." And he's inside the top 5 again. So, I believe in him around here.
I love that helping you in the 1 and done is also helping his bank account as well at the same time. Okay. So Kevin Kisner won in 2021. This was a 6-man playoff. So we need the 5 guys that he beat in that playoff.
Was CT Pan in there?
No.
Was Adam Scott in there?
Yes. Adam Scott was 1. Greg, I think you're thinking of the big playoff at the Olympics. That's
the only people I remember are the guys I call, and I remember having Adam Scott, so I don't know the rest of them.
I really only remembered Kevin Kisner winning and one other of these guys. So this is going to be tough, but Adam Scott is one of them.
Okay. Ding.
Oh man.
I will tell you.
I don't have it.
Give us a clue.
2 of them play for Liv now.
Patrick Reed?
Nope. One of them who plays for Liv is South African.
Louis Oosthuizen?
What was that, Mark?
Brandon Grace.
Brandon Grace is number 2. Yeah.
All right.
Kevin Na is the other Liv golfer I was looking for.
Okay. I remember that. I do remember that.
This guy at Wyndham aced a par 3, and then on his next time he played a par 3, he hit it to like 1 inch and had a combined like 2 inches worth of.
Was that Scott Brown?
No, Siwoo Kim was who I'm looking for.
Siwoo.
And then you guys are never going to get this. The last man in was Roger Sloan.
No,
wow.
Yeah, you
never would have.
Never would have gotten that. So Kevin Kisner beat Brandon Grace, Siwoo Kim, Kevin Na, Adam Scott, and Roger Sloan in a 6-man. Did they play in a? Did they play in a 6-ball or did they play in a?
They split it up. There was 2 threes, if memory serves me.
Threes.
Speaking of splitting it up, do you remember last year what happened? That wasn't Aaron Rye winning.
Yeah, Kuchar made everybody come back
on Monday morning,
and hit 2 shots in 6 minutes.
That was an unreal 4 that he made. I got to tell you, but anyway,
yeah, that was a great 4.
I was out of there, man. We left. Cooch came back with the rules of it.
It was incredible. I couldn't believe that happened. I couldn't believe it happened. It was incredible. Yes, Aaron Rye was the winner. Speaking of winners, let's find a couple of winners. We've got 6 separate names. Oh my gosh. Okay. I like it. I like what we did last time. I'm going to go from shortest to longest. So that means I'm going first. Ben Griffin, 25-1. It is true that he's missed 2 cuts in a row. They're about the 2 best missed cuts that you could find. Big believer in Ben Griffin. Greg is next. Greg has a 35-1 golfer. Who is it?
Yes, this is Lucas Glover, who's a champion here, has played here a million times. What I'm seeing with Lucas right now is that ball striking starting to get real good. So he checks one box, which is he's 10th on tour in driving accuracy. We know he can hit fairways. And then you look at his recent iron play, and for 4 straight weeks, he's gained at least 2 strokes approaching the green, over 5 in 2 of them. And if you stretch it a little farther than that, he's gained at least 3 strokes approaching the green in 6 out of 7 events, which combine that with his driving accuracy, and this gets pretty strong. So I like what Lucas has done on the putting greens the last couple of weeks as well. I think he's in a really good place heading into a perfect course fit for him.
So that's Griffin 25, Glover 35. Mark actually goes twice now. Mark, give me your 40-1 golfer, please.
Love both those picks, especially Lucas. My first is 40-1 is Jake Knapp. I'm going to read you a quote that I saw on Sunday night. By the way, I could have come on the show because my flight got so delayed by storms. I got home like 3 a.m. Anyway, Jake tweets this, doesn't tweet it. He puts it on Instagram. And he writes, there's a picture of him at the top of the backswing, which is gorgeous. I mean, take a deep breath. Anyway, he writes, persistence, continuation in a course of action in spite of difficulty or opposition. So this tells me this dude has got a bit of the red rear end going on right now. And he knows he's playing well. He was so close at the Scottish. In fact, fumbled at the end not to earn a place in the Open Championship. So he was raw about that. Then last week's making a run, was bogey-free for a while, doesn't finish it out, bogeys the last, a par 5, and finishes in 3rd or 4th or whatever. But he's just playing beautifully right now. So, yeah, there it is. So I'm all over Jake Knapp this week. I've just put a close-up of his swing up on Instagram because I'm like, let's go, Jake. It's time to do work.
It is time to do work indeed. Oh, I love this. Jake Knapp he's the best. That is Mark's first outright 40-1. And Mark, I am so proud of you for what you found in this second block here. He's 50-1. Who is it?
Find. I didn't have to find this. I went looking for this dude. I got to be honest with you. Here's the backstory. I've got the various little pride games on with people that think they know a lot about golf. And the one we had like head-to-head one and dones when it was the Open Championship. And I made a panic pick for the Barracuda, and I picked Grillo and got drummed by Ryan Gerard, who I wanted to pick, who won the tournament. And I remember talking with Ryan on the small course there or at North Berwick for the Scottish Open. And this is a dude carrying his golf bag around, playing 18 holes after he's played a tournament round. And I'm like, what are you up to? He goes, how can you not want to play golf at a place like this? It's one of the best golf courses in the world. So I watched him hit, and he fizzed away this low iron into the wind and was like on the button, cut through the wind. I'm like, for real. And then I don't pick him. I'm like, what am I thinking? So I'm not going to make that mistake twice. He went to school up the road in North Carolina. Ryan Gerard, 50-1. Let's go.
Yes, let's go indeed. I don't think a lot of people just might have overlooked the fact that he won an opposite field event just a couple of weeks ago, and he is a flusher of all flushers. I went with Christian Bezuidenhout, 60-1. I know that he is a talented putter. He always has been. He is starting to find a lot of form in the ball striking. I think he's just too low on the board. I think he's been mispriced a little bit. I think he should probably be 40-1, and he's going to get my dollars for this week. Tell me something good, Mark.
New caddy on the bag. It's been a game changer. I talked with him. The play is a whole lot better than the scores right now. And if there was a place where going to fit someone's skill set, Christian around here is a great bet.
Oh, mama. Okay, I'll go back and add some more to that one. 60-1. Thank you very much. Greg, round us out, please, with your final outright. It's the longest on the board. It is in triple digits, 110-1, please.
I think this is the longest one I've ever put on the grid.
It must be.
So it's Austin Eckroat, who I know has the capability of winning golf tournaments. He's done it before. And this is a perfect setup for him. He's an extremely accurate driver of the golf ball. And what I'm really liking what I'm seeing out of his iron play, right? You're talking about 4 straight events where he's gained strokes approaching the green to the field, Mark, but he's beaten them pretty handily, right? He's done it consistently, and handily. Tied 11th at the John Deere Classic. 3M was tied 39th. He didn't putt great, but he putted really nicely at the John Deere and the Rocket. So I think it's all in there. Matter for Austin Eckroat to just put it together. This is a guy trending toward his DNA, getting back to that place like when he was at Oklahoma State, when he was winning the Cognizant Classic. He's getting back to that place, and this golf course is perfect for him.
25-1, Ben Griffin. 35-1, Lucas Glover. 40, Jake Knapp. 50, Ryan Gerard. 60, Christian Bezuidenhout. 110-1. Austin Eckroat. That is the grid. Those are the outrights. Mr. Immelman, sir, we are rooting for your safe travels. We are looking forward to hearing you on the call, and then we are looking forward to your impending vacation, or whatever you want to call it.
Well, I will be catching up with you guys on Friday night.
Night. Mm-hmm.
And then on Sunday night, maybe a little hard because we will be celebrating Ian Baker Finch, who will be having his last call for CBS, which will be kind of happy, sad. So yeah, it's going to be a great week, and I look very forward to it. But look forward to catching up with you guys and getting Greg's take on all the other Twixes he's about to eat.
Which one?
Yeah, he's going to have a lot of takes. Well, Mark, pleasure as always. We will talk to you very soon. Thank you for hopping on.
Thanks, Mark.
Gregors and I must go on here. We are going to enter the fantasy portion of the show where we're going to highlight some more names from a DFS perspective, kind of go from top of the board to the bottom. Just gives us an excuse to talk about more golfers here, Greg. And the way that we start is with the golfer of the week, the man of the hour, the one that you cannot live without. 2 weeks ago, it was last week was Jake Knapp, which was very good.
Yes.
2 weeks ago was also very good. I just can't remember who it was.
I think I went with Keegan Bradley at the Open. Scottish Open, I went with Matt Fitzpatrick,
right,
which was very good.
This has been going pretty well.
Yeah, it's been a good run, and I think it's going to happen again. It's Lucas Glover.
There he is.
Right, he's I think you can get some pretty good numbers on him wherever. He's 8,900 on DraftKings. I'm very comfortable with that. You're in the betting markets. There's plenty of opportunity to utilize Lucas Glover. And I just love the profile. I think that when you see an accurate driver of the golf ball who's trending in the right direction with their iron play, you have a recipe for success. And it doesn't get by me that in the last 2 weeks, he's gained strokes in every single category, except he lost half a shot at the John Deere Classic, where he finished tied 5th. So the whole game is really rounded into form on a course that may have been built for him.
Yes, and I've always said you don't overthink Lucas Glover. You play him on the courses he's supposed to play well on, or the courses that he has played well on, and you don't play him on the other ones, and it's just fine. He he's never going to play well at Augusta National. He's always going to play well at, Colonial or something like that. Right. It's just what you do. And we're following the rules here. We're following the flow chart on Lucas Glover. It's Greg's golfer of the week. Let's look at the upper range. So this is everybody $9,000 and above on DraftKings. You have given me a few names. Let's start with the captain. His name is Keegan Bradley. He's $10,300 on DraftKings for this week. And you have been investing in him over the course of the last month or so, and it has worked out beautifully.
Yes, he's playing, like he says, the best golf of his life. The Open Championship, I thought he'd give it a little better run. But what we're still seeing is he's not the favorite, but he checks all the boxes to be the favorite here, right? This guy's fourth on the PGA Tour in strokes gained tee to green. Of the players in the $10,000 price range, he's the most accurate driver of the golf ball, which bodes really well. That's ultimately why I chose him over Fitzpatrick and Ben Griffin. I really believe in that accuracy, and I think everything else in his game is certainly checking the boxes. So I do like Keegan at 10,300.
Yeah, if you look at these results, so he was playing great leading into the Travelers, 8th at the PGA, 7th at the Memorial, 33rd at Oakmont, wins the Travelers, and hasn't really slowed down since. And you think this is a place that would absolutely benefit his skill set. Not sure I would say that about Jordan Spieth, but he has made your short list as well, Greg. I'm bullish on the next year of Jordan Spieth. What is it about the next week of Jordan Spieth that has your interest?
I feel like there's a run coming for Jordan Spieth. Kind of like Keegan Bradley. I thought it was going to happen at the Open. I thought he was going to have a big Open Championship. It didn't come into fruition. Maybe there was a little more rust because he had that scap injury at the Travelers and had to withdraw. But the golf's been really good. Tied 23rd at the U.S. Open, tied 7th at the Memorial. His driving of the golf ball has been spectacular. He's been much more accurate. Now, he doesn't really check the boxes of accurate drive. He's not in the top 20 in driving accuracy. He's outside the top 100. But I think he has control over his golf ball right now. And he's going to find a way to get around this golf course. I think these kind of greens, as undulating and as slopey as they are, will fit his eye. He will know how to putt these greens. And I think that's going to go a long way for him. So I may be a little early, but I'm seeing the pieces of a guy that could go on a real run. He's just got to put it together. He's got to hole some putts on top of the really quite nice ball striking that we've seen.
I'm ready for it. I don't hope you're early. I hope you are right on time. I hope that he is ready to rock and roll because I think it'll be great for golf. I think the metrics are trending that way. I think it'd be cool for the Ryder Cup. All of that. I think it's going to be awesome. You've got Aaron Rai here as well, our defending champion. I would grade his 2025 as good, not great, but that is still very good compared to the rest of this field.
Yeah, it's really just a skill set thing, right? Aaron Rai is not very long off the tee. He's extremely accurate. And there's a real big advantage to hitting the ball in the fairway here. And so I want to try to take advantage of that as much as I can. With somebody of a Keegan Bradley and a Jordan Spieth with their talent level, they can overcome those kind of things. But, the rest of the way, for much of this, I'm looking for guys that hit fairways because it's such a big difference being in the rough, being in the fairway. Aaron Rai does it. I don't expect him to defend this title, but I wouldn't be surprised to see a top 20 out of him at all. And I think that makes him a valuable play in fantasy.
So the top of the board leaning towards Keegan, Jordan Spieth, and Aaron Rai. The 8K range is where we go next. That's where Lucas Glover resides. We've already discussed him as your golfer of the week. But one more name in there, and this is a name, Greg, that I got pretty big in on last week. As the week went on, I grew on this guy. It wasn't a great finish. There's a couple of good takeaways, like his approach play from last week that I could find. But talk to me about the other golfer in this 8K range.
Yeah, that's Adam Scott. I just feel like something's trending in the golf swing for him. And now we also get into this strokes gain motivation thing, like we talked about with Max Homa being a top 20 play for me. I think the same is true for Adam Scott this week. You know, if he finishes inside the top 70 and gets into the playoffs, so one, he could make a run, but he also can go to Australia for the whole fall. I know he likes to do that. Like, he doesn't have to play in the fall with a really good week here at the Wyndham. Plays in Memphis, see what you do. Maybe you go to the BMW, maybe you go back to Australia. Life gets a whole lot easier for Adam Scott with a top 2 finish this week. And what I've seen is a guy who's driving the ball since like the Truist Championship. He's been driving the cover off the golf ball in his last 5-6 events. He's beat the field on approach in 5 of the last 6. Really 4 out of the last 5, I guess it is. And that's at least 2.5 strokes in all 4 of those. So I'm really impressed with that. Putter's got to get hot. And that's really the thing that we're gambling on. I know he has it in him, but that's the one thing that's holding him back.
Glover and Scott in that 8K range. We'll find your value in a little bit of a second here. But Greg, I want to ask your opinion about something that popped up yesterday while we were traveling to Nashville. This is not golf related at all, but I want to get your opinion on this. So we flew Southwest. Southwest does a direct from Orange County to Nashville once a day. So we did not have to connect anywhere, which was great.
Awesome.
So Southwest is still doing open seating until next year. Next year, they're going to get rid of open seating. So we get on the plane. There is a guy in the aisle, and the middle and the window are available. Okay. I like the window. Mina's comfortable. She's a trooper. She sits in the middle. And the guy's like, here, what? You know, like, he's not here. Sit here. It's, you know, a lot of leg room, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, yeah, no worries, no worries. So we take those seats. Just as we're about to take off, he says to me, I also, so you know, I'm claustrophobic. Can you leave the window open for the whole flight? What's your response to that?
If you want to control the window, you need to have the window seat.
Yeah, right? You don't get to control the aisle and the window.
No.
On the same flight.
No, you don't. The window seat controls the window, whether
100%.
It's open or not. Now, I personally don't care if the window's open or closed. But I might close it. If I'm in the window seat, I'll close. I would never ask somebody to change it.
Okay, so I would have absolutely closed the window the entire time. Okay, so it would have been closed. I, of course, nicely obliged and said, "Yeah, sure, no problem. I'll leave it open. That's fine." But I was aghast that this guy now had control of the aisle and the window with this power that he's got.
Yeah, it's the audacity is just hard to even imagine.
Now,
especially he's first there. Go sit in the window seat and leave it open.
What if his claustrophobia?
Yeah, so Mina took his side. So I guess the claustrophobia is he can't sit in the window because now he's like nooked in there.
Yes, I get that.
But he wants to control the window, but he can't sit there.
I would, if I'm claustrophobic, I could imagine the aisle being a necessity.
Yeah.
But like, take it easy look the other way. Look across the aisle.
So I did what any normal person would do, and I left it open and then was very nice to him and complained about it to you later.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. In public.
Right. It's really the only
that's the right way to do it.
The only proper way to handle it. Let's find out the proper way to handle the 7K range. And I must admit, Greg, this name is a name that I loved for the better part of 18 months. And I'm starting to be pretty concerned with what Davis Thompson's putting together. Let's talk about him.
Yep. So look, he missed his last 2 cuts. He missed the cut at the Open. He missed the cut at the 3M. You look at the 3 starts before that. tied 25th, tied 34th, tied 18th with some really good ball striking numbers. I believe in his tee to green play. I think he's surprisingly accurate with the driver off the tee. And I think there's definitely a potential for an uptick here. Now, this is not all that easy of a selection. It doesn't look great coming off of 2 missed cuts. But one thing I really like as well, Rick, is he missed his first cut here in 2021. Then he finished tied 22nd. Then last year he finished tied 12th. So he's gotten better here every single year. His putting has gotten better here every single year. I think there's a reasonable chance that we see a upward trend. Also, to Mark's point, where do you play college golf? In the Southeast. Alabama, I believe.
Alabama. I always confuse those two.
Well, I always say Georgia, but I think it was Alabama. But it's Southeast regardless.
Yeah, why did I think maybe Georgia? Is he from Georgia? No, I don't know. Yeah, I always confuse all those with him.
Yeah, me too. I had Georgia in my head as I was mentioning that, but then I was like, that's not true.
Armina just said Armina's telling me he did play at Georgia.
Okay, I was right the first time and complete. I hope he's not listening.
You doubted yourself.
Doubted myself. Yeah, he's a Bulldog. So Georgia, I think that makes a lot of sense.
Emiliano Grillo is next, $7,500 on DraftKings. And while you and I might not 100% align on Davis Thompson, I think we very much do on Emiliano Grillo. This is just a profile that's getting better and better, combined with his historical skill set, his recent improvement. There's just a lot to like about Grillo right now.
Yeah, his putting is really, really good. His short game looks really good. This is a complete player for the last 7 weeks or so. I can't believe the turnaround that we saw. The ball striking was getting really bad, and it's been a complete 180. And you've seen him pop off some really good results too, like the John Deere Classic where he lost in a playoff. I could see Emiliano Grillo going on another run here again.
Max Homa is 7,400. So if you're paying attention, that was Grillo at 75. Homa just $100 cheaper. This is progress. I see progress. I see it on the spreadsheet. I see it on the golf course. The bar was very low, though, Greg. The bar was underneath the ground.
Mm-hmm.
So you have seen enough progress to run him out at $7,400.
7,400 feels very low for a player of his caliber who has been hitting the ball really well. I mean, the John Deere Classic was his best ball striking performance since 2023. It's one of the best of his entire career. I want to say it was the second best ball striking performance, combination of strokes gain off the tee and strokes gain approach in his entire career for a great ball striker. Right. Things are definitely coming together, and you could see it. I watched him very closely at the 3M. Things just weren't put together. It was a bad hole or a bad round, a bad shot that was kind of halting the momentum. And now he comes in here desperate to some degree, needing a really strong finish. And I think he gives it a good run. When your eye is on the prize, you get really close, even if you don't end up winning. So for Max Homa at 7,400, I know there's some risk there, but it feels like he's priced too low.
That's also a life lesson. When you shoot for the moon, sometimes you end up in the stars.
No, you reach for the stars and you land on the moon.
No. I don't know about that, Greg.
No?
I don't know.
Shoot for the moon, land among the stars.
I don't know.
Even if you miss, you'll land among the stars.
Even if you miss, you'll land amongst the... It's same idea.
Same concept. Same concept.
Austin Eckroat has made your card at 110-1. He's made your card at $7,100 on DraftKings. He is knocking the cover off the golf ball since the Travelers Championship. PGA Tour winner. Absolutely can get it done.
Yes, and I'm seeing just now your projected ownership on him.
Yes.
Which when I picked these players, I didn't have that available yet.
I just loaded it like before the show.
So he's a much cheaper version than Max Homa, and I would probably play him over Max Homa in DFS. They're both in the same range. 7,100, really accurate driver of the golf ball, PGA Tour winner who is flushing his irons. I think things are looking really good, and this is a great course fit for Austin Eckroat because you rely on accuracy. You get a lot of short irons and wedges, things that he can handle. And he did finish 6th here last year as well.
That gets us down to the 6K range. So we're getting cheaper, and we're starting with Victor Perez at 6,900. Greg, I think, where was it that I played a lot of Victor Perez? Could it have been the Scottish Open? I don't know why I would have done that. But somewhere I played him recently.
Maybe the Rocket,
because it was after the U.S. Open. Maybe it was the Rocket. What do we see out of Victor that we are clicking his name here again?
Yeah, I don't love this one, but it's the $6,000 price range. And what I've been seeing, I think it was at the Scottish where he hit the ball by far better than anybody else, and he finishes tied 43rd. Like, what was it he had that day with his proximity to the hole was like ridiculously low. It's like half of everybody else.
Yeah.
And he just bled on the green. So I just see this approach play recently, and he's gained over 4 strokes approaching the green in 4 of his last 6 events. The guy is just flushing it. And to see somebody hit the ball that way in the $6,000 price range, who is at the very least making cuts, I think you got to give him a look. Maybe that price range doesn't fit into your lineup. He's not a must play, but he's a must consider.
Must consider. I like that. Victor Perez, 6,900, $200 cheaper. Somebody that you and I spend a lot of our energy on. His name is Ben Coles. He is probably the leader of Team No Putt at the moment. But he's coming off of a T20 at the 3M.
T20 at the 3M. He lost 4 strokes putting.
That's a stroke a day.
He was in the 6K range last week as well, and we talked about him exactly a week ago today. And I mean, he delivered in my opinion. So we got him here again at 6,700. He's in his last 3 events, he's gained over 6.5 strokes approaching the green.
He's unbelievable.
It is just so good. Accurate off the tee. There's so much to like about him. His record here isn't great, but he hasn't hit it great here. And I don't know if he was hitting it this way at any point ever in his career. This good. I mean, it's been good before, but never this good. So I got to take a chance on Ben Coles. If he figures something out on the greens, or maybe like in Happy Gilmore, the green starts moving and it can make his ball go in, he'll win. He's hitting it that good.
Have you seen the new Happy Gilmore yet?
Yes.
We have it queued up. I haven't seen it yet.
All right, we can talk about it when you get a chance.
Okay. It like shattered the Netflix opening weekend record. Like 50 million views or something. I
think it's great for golf.
Okay.
And your boy JD plays a big role in it.
Yeah, my boy. We're boys. He definitely knows who I am. I did know that. So I was gonna watch. I think we might watch it tonight before. I got a lot to talk to him about, man. He had that going on. The Augusta Hooters closed. I don't know what he's gonna do during Masters Week. His kids winning events. I got a lot to talk about.
Yeah. And you're gonna play fine too. We talked about that Sunday.
Oh, I'm ready for that now, baby. Yeah, I'm ready to rock. If you like them cheap, how about Double P, Paul Peterson, $6,200? That is the lowest Greg's gonna go.
Yeah, and it's pretty low. I mean, like Ben Coles is gonna get worked in to my lineups. Paul Peterson might. He came in second at the ISCO Championship. His iron play has been very good of late, even though it wasn't great at the 3M. In the 4 events before that, it was very strong. He has had some really strong putting weeks as well. Gained 7 strokes putting at the ISCO and 3 strokes putting in just 2 rounds at the 3M. What I really like is if you look at the cheat sheet and the most accurate drivers of the golf ball over the last 36 rounds. Paul Peterson, I believe, is number 1. He is. So
even for the season, he's third, nearly 73% of fairways.
I think that's a big enough advantage where this week where it catches my attention. And so that's why I even looked at his name. I was like, oh, okay, he's really accurate. And I see some really good performances with iron play as well, and some spike weeks with the putting. Like, he's missed a lot of cuts, but there is absolutely potential for a big week here, and this could be a great course fit.
Paul Peterson, Ben Coles, Victor Perez round out the 6K range. Those are your value options. And I, Greg, am at the end of the outline.
Yes, we did it.
We did it again. We'll be back on Friday to do it again. We'll be back on Sunday to do it again. Anything else that we need to talk about right now?
All right, you get to pick one of these.
Oh, good. Yes.
Snickerdoodle.
Okay.
Cookie dough.
Oh.
Original. I'm gonna go eat dinner, and after that, I'm gonna have another one of these.
Okay.
Which one?
I think. Have you had the cookie dough yet?
Yes.
Have you had the snickerdoodle yet?
Yes.
Well, now I'm in a pickle. I think you should eat the cookie dough.
Done.
I think that is a 1 or 1A for me. The cookie dough and the cookies and cream are both top.
Cookies and cream's fantastic. I would have it as my number 2, and probably cookie dough as my number 3. So I got salted caramel up there on top.
However you want to say it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we will release the official power rankings when we get through all of these. But for now, big thanks to producer Mina. She does all the hard work behind the scenes. Her that was her thumb there. Could you see it? Put your thumb back out. There it is. There it is.
All right, Mina.
All right, Mina making an appearance. Mark Immelman, Greg DuCharme. I'm Rick Gehman. This is The Second Cut. We'll catch you next time.